Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your trusted source for deep dives into South African politics, social justice, and the stories shaping our nation. Today, we're bringing you a powerful and controversial topic that's ignited political shockwaves across the country, and it's one you absolutely don't want to miss. Over the weekend, Zwelinzima Vavi, the General Secretary of the South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU, delivered a speech that has since dominated political discourse. In a no-holds-barred public address, Vavi unleashed a blistering critique of former President Jacob Zuma, calling him, and I quote, "the worst thing South Africa has ever experienced." Yes, you heard that right. Now, let's unpack what was said, why it matters, and what it could mean for South Africa moving forward. Zwelinzima Vavi is no stranger to South Africans. Known for his uncompromising stance against corruption and his fierce advocacy for the working class, Vavi has long been a thorn in the side of political elites. But this time, he went further than ever before, issuing a direct condemnation of Zuma's presidency, which he claims did irreparable damage to South Africa's institutions, democracy, and social fabric. According to Vavi, Zuma's era was not just marred by corruption, it was defined by it. He accused Zuma of orchestrating a decade of systemic looting, state capture, and ethical collapse that left South Africa's governance in ruins. Vavi painted Zuma not as a leader who lost control, but as a mastermind who enabled and benefited from a culture of impunity. And let's be honest, these are not new allegations. We all remember the headlines, the Gupta family saga, the hollowing out of SOEs like Eskom and Transnet, the countless commissions of inquiry, the billions siphoned from state coffers. But what makes Vavi's statement especially potent is the fact that he was once an ally of Zuma during the ANC's early post-apartheid years. This isn't opposition politics, it's betrayal from within, turned into a moral crusade. Vavi didn't mince words. He told his audience that Zuma's presidency represented a betrayal of the working class, the unemployed, and the poor. He described it as a deliberate assault on South Africa's democratic project, not an accident, but a calculated period of exploitation that left deep wounds in the public psyche. And the consequences? According to Vavi, they're everywhere. Load shedding, mass unemployment, a disillusioned electorate, failing healthcare systems, and a broken public trust. For him, Zuma didn't just misgovern, he broke the very foundation of ethical leadership in South Africa. Vavi also took a firm stance against what he called revisionist efforts to rehabilitate Zuma's image. He warned about the growing popularity of populist narratives that paint Zuma as a man wronged by the system, a so-called people's president. Vavi called this narrative dangerous, dishonest, and corrosive to truth and accountability. This, of course, is a direct reference to the recent rise of the uMkhonto weSizwe party, a political vehicle backed by Zuma and his loyalists. The party has been actively campaigning to portray Zuma as a victim of political persecution and a man of the people, unfairly targeted by elite interests. But Vavi is having none of it. He insists that allowing such narratives to take hold would be a betrayal of history, a betrayal of justice. He urged South Africans not to forget the past, not to allow short-term political goals to rewrite what really happened. His message was clear: we owe it to future generations to tell the truth, even when it's painful. This speech has stirred massive reactions. Civil society groups, anti-corruption advocates, and transparency watchdogs have applauded Vavi's courage, saying it's a much-needed reminder of the damage caused by unaccountable leadership. On the other hand, Zuma loyalists have fired back, condemning Vavi's remarks as inflammatory and deeply disrespectful. But let's put politics aside for a moment. What does this mean for the country? South Africa is still reeling from the damage of state capture. Many institutions are trying to rebuild, but the trust deficit between the government and the people remains enormous. Vavi's speech is a stark reminder that without truth, there can be no reconciliation, and without accountability, there can be no real reform. It also raises critical questions about how we remember our leaders and who gets to define legacy. In a country with a rich but painful history, the fight over memory is more than symbolic. It determines how we move forward, what lessons we teach our children, and what values we prioritize as a nation. Let's also not forget, this isn't just about Zuma. It's about the broader political culture that allowed state capture to flourish. It's about the political enablers, the silent bureaucrats, the compromised law enforcement structures, and the countless backdoor deals that rob the country of its potential. Vavi's call to action is clear. He wants South Africans to stay vigilant, to demand transparency, to protect democratic institutions, and to resist the temptation of convenient political amnesia. Whether or not you agree with his words, his message demands engagement. So, what's next? The fallout from this speech is far from over. With elections on the horizon and political tensions running high, we can expect more heated debates, more denials, and more attempts to reshape narratives. But the core issue remains: can South Africa truly confront its past, and more importantly, can it rebuild with integrity? Before we wrap up, here's a question for you, our viewers. Do you believe Zwelinzima Vavi is right in his assessment of Jacob Zuma's presidency? Or do you think he's being too harsh, too political, or even opportunistic? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our in-depth political analysis and news commentary. Your support helps us keep producing high-quality content that keeps South Africans informed and engaged. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay critical, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay informed. See you next time.